When I finally saved enough to buy back my grandfather's old farm, I was filled with nostalgia and determination. He had worked that land for decades, and seeing it abandoned after his passing was heartbreaking. My plan was simple: restore the barn, fix a fence, and bring life back to the property my family had cherished for generations. I didn't realize, however, that the land had technically become part of a sprawling HOA subdivision over the years. For months, I quietly worked on repairs, planting flowers along the driveway and patching up the barn roof. Then one afternoon, I noticed flashing lights at the edge of the property. 2 local police officers were walking up my driveway, looking stern. "Sir, we had complaints from the HOA. They say you're trespassing," one of them said. I blinked. "I own this land," I replied, trying to keep my voice calm. But the officers said they had a complaint from the HOA president, who insisted I vacate immediately. It felt surreal. My grandfather's land, the land I had legally bought back, and I was being treated like a criminal. I asked the officers to check the deed, but they insisted I had to follow HOA complaints. Reluctantly, I left with a heavy heart that night, determined to fight the injustice. I hired a lawyer and prepared for court. When the hearing came, I presented every piece of evidence: the deed in my name, tax records, and even old family photos showing my grandfather working the land. The HOA's argument was thin. They claimed that I was violating neighborhood rules, but the rules didn't apply to me as a landowner. The judge looked through the documents, raised an eyebrow, and asked the HOA attorney if they were seriously trying to evict a property owner from their own land. Silence filled the courtroom. Finally, the judge ruled in my favor. I had every right to restore, live on, and maintain my grandfather's property. The HOA's attempts to force me off were dismissed, and I was awarded the right to recover any legal fees incurred. Walking back onto the land that afternoon, I felt a deep sense of victory. The barn was no longer just a building. It was a symbol of justice and perseverance. The flowers were still waiting to bloom, and I knew my grandfather would have been proud. From that day on, no HOA, no bureaucratic nonsense, and certainly no overzealous cop would ever take away my family's legacy again. If you want, I can also write a funny HOA Karen versus me dramatized version of this story in the same style as viral internet tales. Do you want me to do that?